Hello and welcome to Ramblin through Dave's Garden on another rainy Saturday. This one is off and on rain. You'll be able to get out there, have been outdoors, and we'll continue to be out in between short bursts of rain. This circular patio in the rear garden is my favorite spot to get away from the summer sun, shaded as it is by several Japanese maples, a Samaritan variegated leaf dogwood, as well as at the edge of the forest that borders the southeastern edge of the garden. This patio is built into a slight slope. The slope is retained by large boulders. There are ferns, sedums, and other ground covers tucked into crevices between the stones. There are several pots of both Japanese maples, osmanthus, mangaves, sitting on the patio. Some of these will be moved out into other areas as the summer progresses. But this is again a favorite spot for both my wife and I to sit and to relax with the sounds of water from the 3 ponds that are within view of this spot, and the many favorite plants. Today we will be touring the upper portion of the rear garden, knowing that again it's extensive enough that will take a considerable period, and with a follow-up coming in a few days of the koi pond and the path that leads to the koi pond. Last on the tour of the garden will be the lower rear garden, much of which is newly planted from once the area was stripped of sod late last fall and mostly planted early this spring. So every day that goes by, the plants get a little larger, so it'll be something to see. So welcome, and look forward to see you again in Dave's Garden. The entrance to the rear garden is overhung here on the left by a quite tall Dorothy Wyckoff Pieris, and probably nears 10 feet in height. On the right side, we see several hostas that are nestled beneath a colony of ostrich ferns. Of course, ostrich fern can be quite aggressive. Here it is hemmed in and thus limited in where it can grow, although it does send rhizomes up in between stones in the path occasionally that need to be plucked out, which is certainly an easy task, one of the easiest tasks of the in maintaining the garden. As we turned towards the rear garden, we see a small circular patio. This is the original patio that was built in the garden, which is now mostly overhung by both ostrich ferns, a wide spreading viridis Japanese maple, and on the left side here by a globose blue spruce. Beneath the Japanese maple that we're looking at on the right side, on the lower end, we can hear the sound of water from a waterfall of the original pond that was built in the garden many years ago, probably at least 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. And then in front we are approaching a crossover of the second pond, a two-tier pond that was constructed, and we will not spend much time on the ponds today. We'll leave that for another day. Here we have crossed over the pond, which I do not do on live camera with the great chance that I could tumble into the pond while stepping across. But we are now overlooking the circular patio that we from the introduction. From partway down the stairs to the circular patio, we are now looking at the original pond that was built. It has been renovated, I think, 3 times as different ideas and different technology came up, and now it is an extremely low maintenance feature of the garden, as all the ponds are, requiring very little time monthly to maintain. And now circling from the Adirondack chairs on the circular patio, we will make the turn to show the bench and pond in behind, to the stairs that I descended from the patio. A pond that is just over this view that can be slightly heard, not as well seen through the foliage, and to a path that leads to more or less circle the garden to the patio's edge, and a path into the lower part of the rear garden. The last section of our tour of the upper garden will take us down this path that parallels a stream that terminates here in a relatively small pond that does look considerably smaller, with the overhanging Marisi viburnum that is in flower, and of course just past its peak and dropping flowers into the pond and onto our path. What I thought was a tropical variegated spider's web fatsia that has tolerated 3 winters at this point, though none of them live up to the cold that a Zone 7 garden should reach. Again, the stream, we will pay more attention to that in subsequent videos. And a dense colony on the right here of sweetbox, sarcococa, that again, as slow growing as sarcococa is in getting started, it has now reached the point where rhizomes that come up between stones on the patio must be removed. So here we are with the view that will end our tour of the upper rear garden for the day. And I thank you for visiting Dave's Garden, and look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye.